OGM News FM for news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me. For news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me.
Hello, lovely people. Here we are again. This is another day of Code Blue in America. And as usual, we be touching base on some of the things going on with this current administration. Well, just so you know, my understanding is that there is so much powerful going on in the country. That is, you F around and you're going to find out. There's a lot of people who F around during the election who are now finding out. So we're just going to touch on one of these guys here on today's show. It's one of the very popular MAGA on TikTok, to be precise. And we just find out that he released this video today, shamelessly, shall we say, because for some reason, if you vote for this administration and you happen to be losing money or business as a result of what this administration is doing, I would think the best thing for you is to just lay low. Don't seriously, don't be the one coming out to say anything, let alone crying out loud that you are running into trouble with your business. But that, on the other hand, I'm giving him a very big credit. Very, very big credit for even coming out at all to say anything.
OGM News FM for news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me.
All right, sorry about that. So right about now, I will play this video about his ranting on the social media. He's a very popular guy on the TikTok. So I hope you guys can check him out.
All right, I hate asking for help. I'm not asking for any handouts, but I'm a small business owner that is directly being affected by the 104% tariff that has been put on China. I import alloy wheels for cars, and I do somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 containers a year, which is a small business in regards to this industry. At 104%, I am absolutely going to implode and will not last 6 months. So with that said, I'm asking, is there anybody out there that has connections with manufacturing facilities, specifically alloy wheels, either in the United States or outside in these lesser tariffed countries like Mexico, Indonesia, Thailand, India. I need to find another source. I've emailed a lot of these companies and cannot get a response. And I just don't know if it's because I'm a small business or what exactly it is. So if anybody's out there that can help or shed some light, maybe provide some information that would be helpful, I would really greatly appreciate it, because if not, it's just a small business here that's going to go under, and I'll be back to digging ditches again, which I'm not scared to do, but it's a little harder to do with a wife, 2 kids, and at 45 years old. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, so you heard him clearly, okay? Without putting too much spin into that, you hear that he's running into trouble with his business. Unfortunately, he voted for these presidents. Unfortunately, I say. And I will go to some of his comments quickly. Some of these comments here highlight some of the things that people are saying. There are some comments there that are brutal, really brutal. I don't want to. I don't want to go into that now, because I'm not trying to make fun of him, and I'm not trying to laugh at him, because unfortunately, people do make decisions that are horrible. It is not cool to just make fun of them, So, but one of the polite comments here says on some of them who actually followed him, I've seen him in the past post some messages, said on July 16th 2024 you posted a video talking about Trump going to raise tariff if elected, but yet in November 2024 you still voted for him knowing this. So that is one of the comments. And in response, he replied, because I think this guy really needs help and he doesn't really mind to chat with people on this issue. So his reply is correct. I clearly didn't know. I clearly didn't hunk. It would be with more infrastructure set up first. And I do believe creating equal trade is better for a country. So I do get what he's doing. No, you don't. No, you don't. And that's the problem. Even at this point, you still think sucking up to him will help you in the long run. And the first part of these comments, to be precise, the first part of this comment, I will highlight it again. His response is, well, I clearly didn't, let me just use the right language. I clearly didn't know it will be with more infrastructure set up first. Now, his idea there is simply the same thing I've been hearing from the MAGA who ran into trouble simply because of the decisions or policies of the man they voted for. The same excuses that they did not know that it would be this bad for me. Okay? Not that they don't know that it would be this bad for everybody else or the country, but they just do not know it would be this bad for me. And they do not know it would touch me, And that's the problem. I do not know how people come to this kind of situation where we become so selfish that we don't really care what happens to our neighbors. And we just feel like life is going to be good for us if our neighbors actually suffers. It don't make any sense to me. because the sky is always big enough for birds to roam, fly around. You know, I've never really seen birds in the sky, in the heavens, chasing each other just to be able to hunt one another down, not to be able to get a space in the sky. You know, look, if there is enough equality in the system, if the business is doable for everybody in the same playing level field, it's just going to help you in the long run. If your neighbor is able to do business comfortably, he goes to his own business place and I go to mine, I believe that we will all be able to have a very strong society, that we will be able to help each other. I strongly believe that I do not do anything that creates obstacle for you, and you are not doing anything that creates obstacle for me. I believe in your line of business, there's some value positively that you add to me. And I believe my contributions to the society add some value to you. So I do not understand how we get to this place where we strongly believe that, we need to get rid of the others, or my neighbor, or I don't care about what happened to my neighbor as long as I'm fine, simply because I'm white or because of my skin color. I don't understand it. I don't understand the teaching you people hear in your churches that make you believe that your neighbor have no value added to you when he's actually working hard, doing well, is simply making you angry. I don't get it. Because from what I'm hearing so far, the regret that I'm hearing so far from many of these people who voted for this man is not a regret that is that shows that they really care. It's just that it affects them. That's why many of them are crying out. If it never affects them, I don't see any one of them crying out about nothing. The same thing goes for the lady the other day that I was watching on CNN, who actually was, lamenting that she lost her job. What she said was really, shocking. It's unbelievable to hear her say that, because she practically said that she didn't know that this will affect her. But of course, she knew that it will affect some people. Look, God only bless those who are willing to bless others. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you're going to church and you don't understand this basic concept, you're just wasting your time. Rather, just stay at home. No need to go to church. No need. There's no need at all. If you go to church and you don't understand the basic concept that God only bless those who are willing to bless others, stay at home. No need for you to go to church. Because the simple truth is this: if you vote for a man that you believe is going to exact pain on the other people, as long as it doesn't touch you, then you invite pain upon yourself. Just so you know that. If you close your two hands and refuse to open it up so that others can be able to benefit from something that comes from your hand, what I'm saying in essence if you do not know how to give, you cannot receive. It's as simple as that. If you do not know how to give, you cannot expect to receive. So if you close your two hands, close your hands and refuse to open them so that people can actually take few things from your palms, what that simply means is that you will lose all the opportunity to receive. Because part of the things that you let go of, you receive abundantly in multitude. I believe it's the same thing that the Bible teaches for those of you who says you go to church. So I simply don't understand what the logic is that you simply believe that you vote for a man simply because you believe punishing others, the immigrants, the minorities, will not affect you. Of course, government policies is like a wildfire. Okay? Government policies is like a wildfire. Once it starts, it has no demarcation, no boundary. It knows nobody. It doesn't identify whose home is white and whose owns home that is black and brown. It will touch and burn down any home, doesn't matter who owns it, white or black. That's government policy. Because one thing I know, even if this government is racist, like many people say, okay, or like they template themselves, even if they are so racist, it is hard to implement policy that separates black and white. Most often, the policy is to separate the poor and the rich. Most government policies, even the ones that are coming from those who hate the others, like the one we are experiencing now, most of the time, they cannot easily implement policy that separates the others from the white. But it is often easy to implement policies that separate rich from the poor. And that is one singular reason why we keep saying that this is 99% versus 1%. It is always about that. Even with the other party, with the Democratic Party, the fight has always been between 99% and the 1%. That is 99% versus 1%. I have never known a government, even Obama or any other government whatsoever, that has not yielded more often to cater to the rich than to the poor. I've never known any government. Most often, they will cater to the rich than they will remember you, the poor. The only difference is that one of them, is a little bit fairer than the other. Unlike now, this particular administration and the Senate Republican, the House Republican have gone full throated when it comes to advocating policy that help the rich. And so that means little men and women, little people, poor people, the 99% have no chance. Not anymore in America. The recent budgets that just passed the House was so draconian that it completely eliminates any chance whatsoever left for the little people. Period. And that is why it's hurt me so bad listening to a guy like this, having to go through this. You know, look, I don't believe this guy here is a bad human being for voting for this president. I don't believe that. I believe every one of us have some good in us. And that is what leadership needs to be able to dig in deep to help us reach, to help each one of us reach the goodness in us. Every one of the administration in the past, we speak to our goodness. We dig deep to our human nature. But not in this case. In this case, this particular government is helping everybody to reach out to the evil in us, which every human being has one. Every one of us have that dark side. But when there is a good leader spreading around good aura, good facade, it helps every one of us to be able to reach deeply for the good in us. But in this case, unfortunately, this administration and everybody that I know that have spoken out have done nothing but to help humans reach deep to their evil side. Unfortunately. That's why leadership is very, very important. It helps us to see the human side of us. It only helps us to see the human side and to see that when you display humanity in its best form, you benefit more. You benefit more. You see, when you introduce a budget and the whole Republican in the House voted for it, and it cuts welfare for kids, welfare for the elderly, welfare for the disabled, what are we hoping to get out of that? What? And yet they allow tons of trillions of dollars to go the other direction, to the way of the billionaires and the rich. What do we hope to get from that? That the weak among us suffers, but then the rich keep getting richer. That's selfish endeavor. What do we hope to get from it? There's no blessing that can come from that, even for the rich. Yes, they will have that money for a short period of time. They will spend it lavishly, but eventually, the evil they planted will grow and they will all reap it. They will all reap it. Not even a single one of them will be spared. By the time the evil they are planting start growing and start germinating seeds, it's just good to be good. It's good to be good. No matter how little you can spread out goodness, it's just good to be good. And it is unfortunate, man. And I feel bad that you find yourself in that kind of situation. But unfortunately, it is a situation that you are very much aware that it will happen. You just don't believe it will affect you. Now, another case here was shared in one of the sit down of the Fox News, Fox and Friend, I believe, in which they were talking about a businessman who ran into trouble simply because he has to face a lot of trouble because of the decision, another decision about tariff made by this government. So I have this video here again of Fox and Friend, you know, ironing these out on their show. And I'll play that.
There's an item in the New York Post that we all have in front of us. It's an exclusive story, and it talks about how with these 104% tariffs that went into effect, you know, we think that China is going to have to pay for it, but it tells a story of a special needs toy importer. And when the tariffs went into effect at midnight, his tariff, he's been paying a tariff because he gets stuff from China, $26,000 a year. His tariff bill went from $26,000 at midnight to $346,000, and that's money he's going to have to come out of his pocket. It sounds like he's going to have to go ahead and close down part of his business. He tried to make the toys in the United States, but the tariff on that, his most popular item, went from $0 to $17 at midnight. And
so that's the story we keep hearing. That's the story we keep hearing. And it is unfortunate because those who vote for this president thought that, yeah, they know this will happen. They know because they're hearing it. The man said it. He didn't hide any one of his policies. You know, promise made, promise kept. Yes, even though it's evil policies, but he's one of the president, really one of the president that says things and he will do it. And he's doing it. But unfortunately, you guys knew that this is bad. And you knew how terrible it would be. But you just think there is a way he's going to sift you out of it so that it won't affect you. That is the unfortunate part. And that is what really hurt me. That how did we get here? How did humans get here? That we fall into that evil side of us to think that we want to hurt our neighbors, but as long as we are okay. How? I don't get it. Because you're never going to be okay if your neighbor is hurt. You're never going to be okay. I don't care even if the policy is able to help you one way or the other out and leave your neighbor out. If your neighbor suffers, you suffer. It's just logical. It's just logical that you hope to have a peace of mind if the person next to you or living around you have a peace of mind. And it is unfortunate now because many people are just reaching to the evil side of themselves and becoming terrible people. The last time I was watching CNN and one of the guys on it was actually, you know, in full mode supporting the idea that the president suggested earlier that they will expatriate, just take United States citizens out of this country, extradite. Sorry, that's the language. You know, take them out of this country to go to a foreign prison. A foreign prison. You know, a United States citizen who committed a crime here will be kicked out of the US to go to El Salvador prison. One of the notorious prison in the world. Imagine that. Even though he fully understands that it's unlawful, that is unconstitutional. I mean, the president said it. Maybe it's a jest or a joke like he usually do. But then having people that you think are reasonable, are just normal before, now saying or having a support to things like that, that is when you begin to fear that there is only a thin line, a very thin line between dark and light. And it's just very easy for any one of us to step over. I kind of like when some people are making joke of making fun of that particular idea that, okay, if we want to ship out criminals to outside of the country to go to prison. But, well, there's one now that is very prominent, already convicted 34 times, but he can be shipped out to El Salvador. I'm not going to name names, but I believe you are well informed. There's a prominent criminal who was convicted 34 times in this country. Yeah, he can be shipped out of the country to El Salvador. I'm just saying. Because it's an idea that is well accepted among some, according to our president. And if you're going to start to punish criminals, I think you should start with the prominent ones, the most important people, the VIP who are convicted. Let's start with them. Let's start with them. Yeah, you can add name to that blank, but let's start with the VIP among the convicted. But this is just going to get worse. Some people are very hopeful, but I'm not. Unfortunately, not with this government, not with the way they are doing things, not with so much incompetence all over the place.
All right, now to a Fox News alert. Trade extensions, or tensions, I should say, trade tensions escalating overnight as Beijing announces a 125% tariff on U.S. imports. That's up from 84%. After the White House says tariffs on China are now at 145%.
So meanwhile, President Trump says he's very close to his first deal.
If you
Very first deal. Well,
aren't able to
that's
reach
good.
the deals that you want to see at the end of the 90 days, will you put those higher tariffs in place, or will you extend?
Well, that's what would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make or we have to make, or that's, good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties. And then we go back to where we were.
Go back to the numbers that you announced last week?
I think so.
You wouldn't extend the pause?
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens.
So you see, that's good. But after how many days now? The presidency is close to its first deal. That's what they say. And I believe that's you can't trust that. You can't even trust that. Not with a grain of salt. Not even go close to trusting it. But that's what they say. And let's even believe it's true. That is, after all these burning down, this upside down, many people losing money, retirement erased completely, we are just close to one of them making deal. That simply says out of 75 countries, one is close to making deal. That's a progress. That's a very, very big progress. I mean, I'm not sounding negative here. I'm just being positive. And I'm happy for this administration. Out of 75 countries, one is close to making a deal. That's a huge progress.
Well, here to explain what those next 90 days will be like is U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer. Jameson, first off, your take on what we woke up to today, upping the retaliatory tariffs on America to over 100%. Your reaction?
Well, good morning. I would say that the Chinese reaction this morning is not terribly surprising, but certainly unfortunate. No one else has retaliated against these reciprocal tariffs yet. China got out ahead and decided to do it. And
Okay, I'll hold on there. Because what I'm hearing now is, oh, it is terrible that Chinese retaliate. Wait, what? It is terrible that Chinese retaliate. Wait, what do you think Chinese are? You think they're Christians? You think they listen to Jesus Christ? If you slap me on the right cheek, turn the left? No, they don't. And they don't care about all those stuff. You slap Chinese on the right cheek, they'll give it to you back on the left. And suddenly you think it is unfortunate that they retaliate. What do we really expect? I mean, seriously, what do we expect? For them to cower and go down low and beg for mercy? Hello, let me use a simple language. China is a sovereign country, just like America. Okay? And when it comes to the world power, trust me, they are right there with us right now. They are right up there as one of the strong world power. Do not underestimate China for any reason at all. But I do not know what this guy here or this administration is expecting China to do. Crawl and beg for mercy? It is unbelievable. It is quite unbelievable. I mean, seriously. It is unbelievable. Because I do not know what we practically intend to achieve. You know, when we say it is unfortunate that China retaliates. And this is making it bad because China is coming from a place where they felt disrespected. Okay? They felt disrespected by our president and our administration. And that is why they're standing up for their own dignity, for their own honor. And you're blaming them for doing that? You think it is unfortunate? I mean, how did we get to a deluded place that we solidly think that China will put his own honor, its own dignity beyond America's? As much as we have patriots in this country who will stand for the country, who will lay their life for the country, so is China have theirs. They believe in their country. They trust their leaders. The same thing with Canada. That is why you do not disrespect these countries. Period. The relationship is mutual. It should be mutual. Not a relationship of a boss and a subject. No. It is a relationship between counterparts, between partners. Partners. And that is the delusion here. That this administration keeps seeing other countries as if they are inferior. Even the smallest country in the world, the smallest and the poorest country in the continents of Africa or elsewhere is still a sovereign on its own. You cannot just ride them around like a dog. No. Stop thinking like that. Stop using that kind of lavish mentality to believe that others should crawl in front of America. And do not forget that you cannot demand respect. You have to earn it. You do not demand respect. You earn it. If you demand respect, you will get the end of a stick. And that's exactly what China is giving to us right now, unfortunately. And the administration just say one country is close to making a deal. What's the name of that country? We don't know.
And that's why they're in a different category.
Probably we will never know.
Jameson, I know you've already talked to some countries and you're planning on talking to some today. Can you tell our audience which ones?
Certainly. In fact, right after I'm done with this TV spot, I'm going to be speaking with my counterpart in Israel. Over the last 2 days, I had a long discussion with the Vietnamese. We're speaking with the Taiwanese later today as well. I have a full dance card.
Yeah.
What?
So I guess, Representative,
Go on.
a lot of questions. The big question on Americans.
Oh, he suddenly have a lot of questions. The couch journalist suddenly have a lot of questions. The guy who knows nothing better than suck up to people who pay him. He suddenly have a question. Let's hear him.
Mind, they're on board when it comes to knowing that China is a threat and they steal a lot of stuff from us. Is there a plan to make up the difference for some of those businesses that are going to be hit hard by this trade war?
Well, certainly. And part of the reason we're doing negotiations is to achieve more fair and balanced and reciprocal trade with other nations. And part of this means opening up their export markets. As we all know, there have been so many barriers to U.S. products in foreign markets for many years.
Let me explain something about that. Opening up their export for U.S. product. It's not possible. I'll tell you why. It's not because they're trying to restrict American product. It's just that many of the American products is not affordable outside the US in most cases. In most cases. It is just after 2009 that you guys in this country start making more economical vehicle. The vehicle that America made before 2008 are those vehicles with gigantic engines, huge, humongous engines, V8, V16. Those of you who know about engines know what I mean. And believe it, for example, in Africa, I do not know anyone who's going to come near an engine that has V8 or V16. Because the mentality in the country, in America, is to go for a powerful engine. The horsepower has to be insurmountable amounts of horsepower and speed. But you know what? Most of those countries don't care about things like that. They just want a car that will be manageable, that will be economical, that will save them a lot of money on gas. So it is not really that they are trying to restrict American trade. It's just that American product is not that good outside America. It's just these few years that we are trying to change the way we are producing. American has always been producing mainly for Americans. And that's one of the problems. When you look at yourself, you think the world ends here. Whereas outside America, it's just the beginning. For example, you call the final of the baseball the World Championship. Listen to me carefully. America calls the final of the baseball the World Championship. And then they call the US Super Bowl, the football Super Bowl, they call it World Championship. Really? Here is one of the problems. How is it possible that a championship that is being played within the country only by teams within the country suddenly becomes the World Championship? That same perspective, that same logic, that same mentality you carry it around. It's not just in football, it's not just in baseball, it also goes into how you do businesses. You do not like to go tall and see above United States and see everybody else around the world. You like to sit down and do business. So that way, you only see anything close to you, nearby. And when you see those around you and you think, oh, America is so big. But no, it's not. It's not. When you're trading here, that don't make you an international businessman. That don't make you a world trader until you step out there. The same thing with your football. Until teams are representing from Europe, from England, from Germany, you can't call it World Championship. You cannot. It's as simple as that. Just because Canada is taking part in some of these competitions doesn't make it World Championship. It's just something that happened within a continent of North America. It's not World Championship. Until you start having teams registered from England, from Germany, from France, from Argentina, from Brazil, from maybe some representation from Africa, from Nigeria, I would say, then you now have a World Championship. It's unfortunate because you carry that same mentality onto everything that you do, especially trade. Until 2009, nobody in Africa buys Chevrolet, GMC, Ford, all these cars because they believe the engine is just too big to manage. Some of them were made with V8 engine, V16 engine, whereas people rarely buy V6 in Africa. They only go for V4. That is 4-cylinder engine. They only need a little bit of gas to run around. America don't make most of those before 2009. I remember that vividly. It is after the bailout from the recession of 2008 that they came up and they say, you know what? In order for us to be able to compete well with the world, we need to start make economical vehicle. And that is when you start seeing America coming up with the idea of more 4-cylinder cars and then hybrid. That is where you can mix gas with electrical and then more electrical cars. Even as I said now that China is speeding the rate at which they produce electrical vehicle. Guess what we are doing here? We are killing the growth of electrical vehicle. That's what America do. Tell me, how do you compete when you do that? And the only way to survive and sustain as the world's best economy is to make sure you do it first before any other person do it. If electrical vehicle is the next stage of driving around, you better make sure you taking the lead in it. If America is going to stay #1 economy in the world. Because eventually, the hard truth here is using gas to drive around, we become obsolete. Either you like it or not. The world started from a place where they use oil from whales. There was a time when oils were taken from whales in the sea for us to be able to use oil to turn on the lamp, to use so many things that we need oil for. We graduated from things like that to use coal. Coal become obsolete, more or less. We use gas, we use petrol, we use propane. We've used so many of these things. But every now and then, we move away from some type of energy consumption and move to the next one. The next phase is electrical. You can fight it. You can wage war against it. But by the time the rest of the world start getting themselves to lead, to take the lead in this aspect, and we are falling way behind in America, nobody's going to tell you before you start abandoning the usage of crude oil. It will become obsolete. Whether you are ready or not, that is your own cup of tea. Or, in this case, cup of coffee. But it will become obsolete. And that is where it gets me so angry when I see that we have an administration that is not intuitive, it's not inventive, it's not thinking about the future. It's just about this archaic idea of going back to coal. Coal? Really? He literally, in the last time he went out there, was promising these coal miners that that job is coming back. Are you dreaming? And then the Commerce Secretary saying openly on the television that they will bring China factory to America. How? How many of you are willing to get paid $500 a month to work in a factory to make iPhone or to make shoes? How many of you? Please, I need contribution in the comments. I want to know how many of you willing and able to work in a factory to make shoes and to make iPhone like they do in China and get paid $500. I'm guessing none of you. None of you. But that's what this administration is planning. When every one of the country around you is hoping for the future, rather than actually looking for futuristic ideas, they want to go back to dark ages. You got to be kidding me. Seriously. Seriously. Well, for the last part of this segment, this show, I just want to let you guys see some of the video I selected, that are called going viral for the wrong reasons. Going viral for the wrong reason. And I'm starting this video, the first one, with the president himself in the Oval Office. This is the president in the White House, in the Oval Office. This particular video went viral, but for the wrong reason.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
After purposely drop-kicking the economy into a ditch, he now celebrates with his billionaire besties at your expense. One made $2.5 billion in a single day. The other pocketed a humble $900 million. Your president chuckled and gave them both a congratulatory pat. It's the White House billionaires versus, well, the rest of us? You catching on yet? I mean, how did you end up here? The rich laughed all the way to the banks. You begged for overdraft protection and cried to the rent office. Surprisingly shocking, nah, because you voted for this.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
Here is it. Everywhere we put this, on the Facebook, on TikTok, it's spread like wildfire. And it's not just us. Many of the other independent press that added this on the social media, it went viral. But for the wrong reason. For the wrong reasons. Because gone are the days when people will actually do something that hurt the nation and will not have the boldness to say it in front of camera. But not today anymore. Because they believe, well, they can do anything and they are untouchable. Literally bragging after, because he said he purposely crashed the economy. So after he purposely crashed the economy, and then he templates the idea for people to buy, that this is the time you can buy. And 4 hours later, he announced that he's going to suspend the tariff. So he is instructed to go and buy the dip, the terrible crash of the market, go and buy the dip, and then 4 hours later, he announced to suspend the tariff. And what happened? Right after announcing it, the market started skyrocketing. Just for one day, for that day, the market starts skyrocketing. So I believe now, at this point, when everybody is doing what they're doing now at the Oval Office, they already cashed out. He made 2.5 billion. He made 900 million. Now, my question is, how much do you make? America? How much did you make in that wildfire that the global trade finds itself and the few hours recovery that follows? Everybody cashed out. They cashed out. They made their billions. They made their millions. Only God knows how much the president makes. And now we're back to exactly where we are. Because the problem is not fixed. If you are so deluded to think that because the market blew up in that short moment in time, you got another thing coming. Because we're just getting started. But for the fun of it, for laugh, I have another one for you. Some of these things are spreading on social media. So once in a while, I'll bring them to you so you can have a laugh. Now, this man is going viral for the wrong reason. Well, he's one of the people who actually said he voted for this president. But then, look at what he's saying now. It's not very easy when you faffle. Not very easy at all.
I voted for my own job loss. Like a damn fool. And I ain't ashamed to admit it. I won't do that again. Own job loss. I voted for my own job loss. Like a damn fool. And I ain't ashamed to admit it. I won't do that again.
So he's not ashamed to admit it. So he know he's run into trouble. I voted for my own job loss. It is unfortunate though. It's not funny, but I mean, it goes viral for the wrong reason, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. And the last video for the day before we get out of here is from one and only Kramer. SPAC is one of the experts in the trading. So he's been calling market for a very long time. Only he didn't see this coming. Or maybe he saw it, he just didn't know it will affect him. I don't know how I'm going to do this video from. Okay, I think I just switch this around and then you can see this in full, I guess. All right, this is Kramer.
No idea.
Kramer.
I have talked to the heads of almost every single one of these firms in the last 72 hours, and he has no idea what it's like out there. None! And Bill Poole has no idea what it's like out there. My people have been in this game for 25 years, and they are losing their jobs, and these firms are going to go out of business, and he's nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
Kramer.
I have not seen it like this since I went 5 bid for 500,000 shares of Citigroup when I got hit in 1990. This is a different kind of market, and the Fed is asleep.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Bill Poole is a shame. He's shameful.
So that's the last one for the day. But just so you know, Kramer actually supported this president. And that is the last powerful of the day. All right, everybody. This is Code Blue, and this is Sala Blue, and I will be hitting you up on my next show. Thank you very much for staying tuned, and thank you for watching, and thank you for listening also on the FM radio. And I'll be back with you next time. Thank you very much, guys. I really enjoy all your contributions and all your listening pleasure.
On Trumpnews FM for news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me. OGM News FM for news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me. For news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me.